The impacts of global warming on our future are vast and multifaceted, affecting various aspects of the environment, ecosystems, societies, and economies. While specific outcomes can vary depending on regional and local factors, here are some key anticipated impacts. Rising sea levels. The melting of polar ice caps and glaciers, coupled with the thermal expansion of seawater, leads to rising sea levels. This poses a significant threat to coastal communities, causing increased flooding, erosion, and the displacement of populations. Extreme weather events. Global warming is linked to an increase in the frequency and intensity of extreme weather events such as hurricanes, droughts, heat waves, and heavy rainfall. These events can have devastating consequences for communities, agriculture, and infrastructure. Temperature extremes. Warming temperatures contribute to more frequent and severe heat waves. This can impact human health, strain energy resources, due to increased demand for cooling, and affect ecosystems, particularly those not adapted to such temperature extremes. Ocean acidification. The absorption of excess carbon dioxide by the world's oceans leads to ocean acidification. This can harm marine life, particularly organisms with calcium carbonate shells, such as corals and some shellfish, disrupting marine ecosystems. Loss of biodiversity. Changes in temperature and ecosystems can disrupt the habitats of many plant and animal species. This can lead to shifts in migration patterns, altered breeding seasons, and, in some cases, the extinction of vulnerable species. Food and water security. Changes in temperature and precipitation patterns affect agricultural productivity. Some regions may experience reduced crop yields, while others might see increased risks of pests and diseases. Water scarcity can also become more prevalent in some areas due to altered precipitation patterns and increased evaporation. Health risks. Global warming contributes to the spread of infectious diseases as changing temperatures and precipitation patterns affect the distribution of disease vectors, such as mosquitoes. Additionally, heat-related illnesses and deaths may increase during more frequent and severe heat waves. Economic impacts. The wide-ranging consequences of global warming, from extreme weather events to changes in agricultural productivity, can have profound economic impacts. These include increased costs for infrastructure repair, healthcare, and adaptation measures, as well as potential disruptions to supply chains. Social and political challenges. Climate change can exacerbate existing social inequalities and contribute to displacement and migration. It may also lead to conflicts over scarce resources, particularly in regions already grappling with political instability. 10. Ecosystem changes. 1. Shifts in temperature, precipitation, and sea levels can lead to altered ecosystems and migration patterns of plant and animal species. 2. Boreal forests, for instance, may face increased susceptibility to pests and diseases, impacting the delicate balance of these ecosystems. 3. Some species may struggle to adapt or find suitable habitats, potentially leading to declines or extinctions. 11. Feedback loops. 1. The warming of the Arctic, leading to the melting of permafrost, releases stored methane, a potent greenhouse gas, creating a positive feedback loop. 2. Accelerated melting of sea ice reduces the Earth's albedo effect, where ice reflects sunlight, contributing to further warming. 12. Threats to agriculture. 1. Changes in temperature and precipitation patterns can impact crop yields and alter the geographic suitability of certain crops. 2. Pests and diseases that were once limited by colder climates may expand their ranges, posing new challenges to agriculture. 13. Disruption of ocean circulation. 1. Changes in sea temperatures and ice melting can disrupt ocean currents, such as the Gulf Stream, with potential global impacts on weather patterns. 2. Alterations in ocean circulation can affect marine ecosystems, fisheries, and weather systems. 14. Impact on indigenous peoples. 1. Indigenous communities often have strong cultural and economic ties to their local ecosystems, making them particularly vulnerable to environmental changes. 2. Disruption of traditional practices, loss of biodiversity, and changes in migratory patterns can threaten their ways of life. 15. Economic inequality. 1. Developing nations, often more reliant on agriculture and with fewer resources for adaptation, may face disproportionate economic impacts. 2. Wealthier nations may have the means to invest in technological solutions and adaptive strategies, exacerbating global economic disparities. 16. Loss of glacial water sources. 1. Glacial meltwater from mountainous regions contributes to river systems that millions rely on for drinking water and agriculture. 2. The accelerated melting of glaciers jeopardizes these water sources, impacting both ecosystems and human populations downstream. 17. Impact on global trade. 1. Extreme weather events and disruptions to supply chains can affect global trade patterns. 2. Vulnerability in one region can lead to cascading impacts on interconnected economies across the world. 18. Security risks. 1. Climate change can act as a threat multiplier, exacerbating existing security risks. 2. Competition for resources, displacement of populations, and increased frequency of extreme weather events can contribute to regional and global tensions. 19. Mental health impacts. 1. The stresses induced by climate-related events, such as natural disasters and displacement, can have lasting mental health effects on individuals and communities. 2. Anxiety, depression, and trauma-related disorders may become more prevalent. Addressing global warming requires concerted efforts to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, adapt to changes that are already underway, and work towards sustainable practices. International cooperation, policy interventions, and technological advancements play crucial roles in mitigating the impacts of global warming and securing a more sustainable future.